All right. Good afternoon here. And I'm just gonna say right now, it's not Jordan Game 5 flu game, but I got the flu here, so I'm trying. Hopefully, I have a 38 point, 8 rebound performance, and can lift us to a title
Perform
here.
at your highest level, Sean. I got it.
Yeah, but
But
yeah,
you're not alone. Apparently, in this
it's
area, Mercer County in New Jersey, it's all over the place. It is what it is. But I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it.
it's brutal right now, but it's I guess I got the flu now, and I won't get it again, so we'll see. Uh, just yeah, welcome to another episode. Let it run, let them run. I know last week there's some big races once again, on their way to
Yeah.
the Derby, and there's just big races, at Gulfstream and stuff. And I'm sure there's another, it's another weekend like that as well, and it's going to be like that probably for the next 3 months, right? Right.
Correct. Every weekend, every Saturday, there's sure to be some races that will be Derby prep races where the entrants can earn points. Today's two big races on the East Coast are at Gulfstream Park. The Holy Bull race. We'll get into that and discuss that a little bit. And another big race that has Derby implications is at Aqueduct the Withers. Looks like, from what I gathered when I looked into what the conditions were at Aqueduct, that I think it's going to be fast. I don't think they're predicting any more rain. They did have some rain over the last day or two. I thought it might have been a little muddy or perhaps even sloppy, but it looks like it's still fast. And I think that makes a difference when we break down that race a little bit. We'll talk about that. Got a
Yeah, I
couple big
mean,
races like before that too. Yeah.
yeah, it looks like the way to be, we'll see tomorrow. This dopey groundhog hopefully says it's spring. I mean, it looks like it's starting to. I mean, it's been really, really brutal in the Northeast for
Yeah. Yeah.
over a month. I mean, just like really brutal, and it's starting to warm up here. I think, which is obviously going to help these horses and help these tracks as we get going.
Yeah. Well, again, they're redoing Belmont. They're working on that. That's going to be another year away. So next year, the Belmont will be run again at Saratoga in early June. They'll have that special, great. I think it was a 4-day meet that they had in June. That was the Belmont at Saratoga. They're doing that again this year, and I believe for 2026, the Belmont will be renovated. It's supposed to be a beautiful facility. So I'm looking forward to that. But today, Gulfstream Park, fast, firm, sunny, no problem down there. So, we're going to go into the pick five starting in race 8. I do have a race I want to talk about briefly. It's race 6. It's an optional claiming 25K on turf at 1.16 miles. Kind of a big field. There were 16 horses entered. 12 entered in the body, and 4 were AEs, but all 4 of the AEs scratched, and there was 1 scratch, the 4 horse. So there's a couple horses I want to touch on. I really like in this race, the number 6 horse, then. It's being ridden by Alvarado. Came out of the Mott barn, which is interesting. He was previously trained by Bill Mott. Bill Mott's go-to rider is Alvarado, but Antonucci is the new trainer, took over and kept him on the horse. He rode the horse out last time, broke his maiden by 5. It was on synthetic, but he worked out on turf 47 seconds on January 25th. So it looks like he certainly got the ability to get back on turf, which he was on there twice already, and put in a good run. And also Antonucci, first-time trainer. I'm sorry, second off with him is like 38% out of 8. So it's a small sample, but it's pretty good. So Mott and Alvarado, when they team up together, they're good. But Antonucci and Alvarado also show some promise, and obviously Antonucci taking over the training, wanted to keep him on the horse. Interesting though. Alvarado, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he ended up. I'm sorry, not Alvarado. Where did he go? Well, Castellano went on the 8, but I don't think Mott. Oh yeah, Mott has another horse in here, the 12. That's what I was looking at, Princetown. and he put Zayas on that horse. Alvarado's been on that horse a few times before. But the other horse that I have an interest in is the 11 horse. Better Days Are Coming. He's an Ireland-bred horse. Joey Bravo takes the mount over for Dylan Davis. This horse has raced twice in the North at Aqueduct, coming in over from Ireland. Raced over there 13 times. 2 times out here, he raced okay. The last race he was in, he raced against the Battle of Normandy. That horse is a high-level quality horse, Grade 1 horse. And he didn't race very well. He got checked pretty hard. And he's 8-1. So I kind of would like to take a chance on that horse as well in race 6 at Gulfstream today.
Yeah. I think obviously, once again, this is outside the pick 5. So
yeah.
And I feel like we've had a little success with these earlier races in the first few weeks that we've done this. Targeting some of these other races. So if you're watching this for the first time, or if you've been following, these have been pretty successful horse races here for outside of the pick 5. So make sure I think sometimes people have the tendency just to focus on a certain pick 5, pick 4, and then there's I think there's a lot of value in some of these other races too as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I look at the card. I like doing the late pick 5 because it gives you a chance to see what's happening prior to. Also, when we do our live broadcast like we're doing today, the scratches already in. There weren't too many big time scratches that affected any of the selections that we looked at, but that can and in the past has made a big difference on how we put the pick 5 together. So as we dive into the first race of the pick 5, race 8, I would like to say again that we will post the pick 5 play that I will be putting out there at the end of our session today, and also we'll post it on X, let them run on X. And if that pick 5 hits, I think what we have decided to do, I think is a great idea. Certainly the Permanently Disabled Jockey Fund, which takes care of a lot of these jockeys who are unfortunately injured and disabled, supporting their efforts as they try to continue their lives after racing. We will donate 10% of any. Every week we'll do a pick 5. It'll be posted. And if we happen to hit that pick 5, 10% of those funds will go, 10% of those winnings will go to the PD, Permanently Disabled Jockey Fund. So just wanted to get that out there. I think those guys are tremendous. They put their lives on the line every time they go out there riding these horses, these beautiful animals. So we certainly want to continue to keep them supported as well. So race 8, Sean. Go ahead, Sean.
Race 8, the first one of the pick 5, correct?
Race 8 is the first race in the pick 5. Again, I know we talked about this last week. And last week there was a marathon. I think it was 1.5 miles. This is 1 3/8 miles on the turf, but it's still another marathon. Last week, I think the 13 horse and also eligible got in. Florent Giraud was on him, and he won a big price and knocked us out of the first leg of the pick 5 last week. But I love marathon races. I think they're like a chess match. The jockeys have to decide what they want to do. In this particular race, there is a horse that's very interesting to me. As you know, Sean, I know you are well aware of my favoritism towards speed. There's a horse, and speed in a long turf race, a marathon race, can come in handy. That's the chess match I'm talking about. The 6 horse Tennessee Land broke his maiden last out in a slop. Put up some pretty good fractions over a 1 mile and 3/16. As Asias stays on him, he showed he's still got his speed. He worked out on January 15th, 46 seconds. I just have a feeling this horse is going to go out and see. Let Asias take him as far as he can go. He's 15-1 on the morning line. I just think it's going to be very interesting. The horse right to his inside, number 5, Harry Hood, with Johnny V on him, certainly has a tremendous amount of speed too as well. Not in his last race because he got bumped and hard and had to kind of check up, but the race before that was a marathon. He went out pretty fast. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I kind of like Saez's chances to get out there, and see how it goes. Again, that's why I keep saying it's like a chess match.
It's interesting.
Huh?
No, I think it's pretty interesting. Just reading the story here, he broke his maiden in the slop. You said Tennessee Lamb, right? Now, is that when you talk about in the slop, that's dirt?
Dirt that's been rained on and is turned sloppy, so it's wet.
Now he transitions to the turf, right?
He transitions to the turf. He's been on turf before, never in a marathon race. He came out of that race apparently okay. It took him 8 races to break his maiden. And Saez and George Arnold, they get a lot of races won together. 10 times at Gulfstream Park, they've won 40%. When he came out of this race in November 14th was the last time he came out. He's been working regularly, hasn't missed a beat on a workout, and on January 15th, put in a 46-second bullet workout at Palmetto down there. Palmetto's in Gulfstream Park. So he certainly looks like he's fit, ready to go. It's just a matter if he can transition that speed to turf, Sean. That's what we're going to be looking for.
Yeah, I think we talked a lot about the Nairn numbers with the turf and the
yes,
the dirt rate, dirt track, and when you see these horses that kind of run on both, they've had a little success, on the trap and this and on the dirt and the slop and goes back to the turf. Is that something that sticks out to you? Something like that? I mean, if the trainers are saying, hey, listen, this is a good spot for him to go to turf here after he won on the dirt. Is that something that maybe plays into it?
I think it does. I mean, I think this horse has raced at Churchill Downs and some high level courses, and Gulfstream Park ranks right up there with them. But obviously the makeup of the horse in terms of who the sire and dam is. I mean, he has not a huge amount of. He has some, turf influence from Tonalist and Tappet, to get him on turf. And he's been on turf before. I mean, he's raced, how many times on turf? 3 times on turf out of his 8 races. So he's kind of,
yeah, that's interesting.
Still got some more time to develop. He is a 4-year-old. So sometimes they can continue in their 4-year-old year to grow. So I think he's got a big chance. It's just going to be an interesting combination of what happens with the 5-horse Harry Hood and Johnny V and what he decides to do. The horse that's probably going to be the favorite is a horse from France, the 2-horse Lantharus. Again, Mott putting another horse out there to run. Gaffaleone's on the horse. He's run this distance 3 times. Hasn't won yet. Came in second twice. Came in third once. Running at this distance, he's got to have an edge on some of the other horses here, and that's why I kind of give him a chance. He's the number 1 prime power. One of the factors that we've talked about that I look up often, and that gives him a big chance. So again, it's interesting. I love these marathon races. I just think they're great to watch, and see what horse is going to take the lead, what horse is going to sit back, and certainly coming down the stretch in the finish is going to be fun. So that's how I look at that race. So we'll see how that plays out.
It's interesting when you look at these, the 5 races that make up the pick 5 here. You got the race 8 is a long marathon turf race. The next one here, dirt, is a 7 furlong.
Sure.
Big, $165,000 race. The next 2 races are both $165,000. Then you got turf, 1 1/16, dirt 1 1/16, and then a dirt 7 furlong. So all different kinds of races in these that make up the pick. So.
Oh yeah. Well, again, it provides intrigue, and gives you a chance to, some people perhaps prefer betting turf races. 7 furlongs is an interesting distance, as we talked about before. They call it a sprint, but it's 1 furlong less than a mile. 6.5 is a long sprint. 7 is right in that in between distance. So horses that have run, as an example, when you talk about the different style or distances that the races are, dirt, turf, 7 furlongs, mile 16th, etc. When you see a horse that has had success at 7 furlongs, that to me puts a little bit of a bullseye on that horse to say, let's pay attention to that horse. And in this race, this particular race coming up, which is the 9th race, the Swale at 7 furlongs, it's interesting when you look at the form, no horse has ever won at 7 furlongs. So that creates a little bit of a challenge to pick up a horse and say, or pick out a horse and say, okay, I like this horse because he's won twice at 7 furlongs. The 4-horse Fire Pit ran once at 7 furlongs. And that's about it. The horse that I like in this race is the number 6, Gunmetal. He's a 7-5 morning line, trained by Brad Cox, ridden by Louis Saez. So you put those two together, you're going to certainly anticipate a successful run for that horse. He also has, even though his last out was 6 furlongs and he won a big field, there was 10 horses. He broke out of the 9-hole, ran some good fractions, has a high early pace figure. So I kind of look at him to get the lead, and with Saez on him to kind of keep him there. Interesting fact with this horse, another reason why I really like him, and in fact, he may be a single in my pick 5, is Brad Cox is 45% with second-time starters in non-graded stakes races over the last 5 years.
Yeah,
45%. That's a big number, Sean. Absolutely. And this is a graded stakes. It's a non-graded stakes. It's not a grade 1, a grade 2, or a grade 3. So it is a stakes race, but it's not graded. That's what that means for anyone who might be looking into that. I think he's going to be tough to beat. The 2 scratched out Donut God, he was the number 1 prime power horse. So I think that pushed me a little bit more to think that this horse, Gunmetal, has a pretty big chance. The other horse that's going to be a favorite is the 7-horse Grayscale, ridden by Irad Ortiz. Good post for him to decide where he's at. Another horse that has speed. I don't know that he'll get in a speed duel with the 6-horse Gunmetal, but I think those two should be, along with the 1 who's got a tremendous amount of speed. So some people are looking at it that it might set up for the 3, Mater D, being ridden by Johnny V. Certainly he is obviously a Hall of Fame jockey. I'm sure they're all looking at this race and trying to see, again, I use the word chess match, right, Sean?
Yeah.
You play chess, don't you, Sean?
That's correct. That was my first trophy I won. Back in Super Saturday at Grace Middle School, I would play against. I was like 7 years old, playing against like 11 and 12-year-old kids, and I won the class tournament.
Oh boy! Well, I'll continue to use that chess match reference then, Sean. So that's who I like in the 9th race. Again, I think in the 9th race, as I put my pick 5 together, and then again we'll post that on Let 'Em Run so that you can look at that. I think I may single the 6. I just think he's going to be a solid pick in that race. We move on to the 10th race, which is another turf race, Kitten Joy's Stake Race, 1 mile and 16th on the turf. Tough race to figure out. I did, in reference to our good friend Mark Eckel, I did run the Bobby Naron numbers, which for those of you who might not know it, Naron, Bobby Naron was a friend of Mark Eckel, a prominent sports writer in the Mercer County area, and now living in Myrtle Beach, but still contributes quite a bit.
They're both apparently in Myrtle Beach. I was talking to Mark Naron, Bobby Naron.
No way.
Myrtle Beach, so he's actually trying to get to meet up with them.
Well, that would be awesome, because in the early days of handicapping, we still do look at the Naron numbers, which is a number, artificial number assigned to each horse based on their earnings on turf and their first, second, and third place finishes, which are assigned a number, 6 for first, 2 points for second, and 1 for third. So in this race, just as a quick aside, the number 6 horse has the highest Naron number by quite a bit. And the 6 horse is Test Score, who I actually like a little bit. He was a 7-2 morning line favorite. The 8, Mibago, scratched out, and that makes, I think, a big impact on this race, because he was certainly with Dylan Davis on board and Mark Casse, who has 3 horses in this race. So 3 of the 8 horses that were entered were Mark Casse trained horses. I think that's kind of interesting. The 8-horse scratch, it said it was a trainer scratch. So, he was also a speed horse, the 8-horse Casse's horse. And the other horse that Casse, well, he has 2 in. I don't know if this is, I'm certainly just speculating here, but the 5-horse Walking in Memphis, okay, and also not disclosing this because he's a friend of ours, but our friend Tommy Tramontana, who works at the Hibernian Club, has part ownership in this horse, Walking in Memphis. He spurred it out at 1 mile and 16th at 24-1 and won at Gulfstream Park in his first time out. Professional, got a little green in the stretch. If you watch the replay, he kind of tossed his head a little bit. And Jaramillo kept him straight and won by a neck. He's been working out regularly since. He's the only horse who won at Gulfstream Park already. And the only other horse that won at Gulfstream Park was the 8. And so I think, at 15-1, I'm going to take a look at that horse Walking in Memphis. And if he can bust out of the gate and get to the front again, the 2 may go with him. Charlie's to Blame. I'm not as high as the horse Charlie's to Blame because he's coming in from Del Mar, from the West Coast. He had a workout as late as January 25th, Sean, in Santa Anita. Great workout, 47 seconds. But, he's basically, I don't remember who the analyst who said this. It might have been Larry Colmus on TVG talking about a race in the past. The horse going basically from the plane to the track, right?
On the other side of the country too. I know how I feel when I travel back from England.
Oh, and you do a lot of traveling. Yeah.
It's you can't be at 100% when you're doing that. Like you could still win, but you're not. I just don't see how you could be at 100% when you're doing that.
Yeah, and I don't know. He may have had a workout it's not published. He may have had a workout at Gulfstream Park, but I think he's going to need a race to get him into shape. He's shipping him from the West Coast all the way here, so either he's looking at this race as a prep for another race he might be looking at, but certainly he does have some speed. He'll probably give Walking in Memphis perhaps a run for the money for the lead, but Walking in Memphis is out of a War of Will horse, and in talking to Tommy T, who is a part owner of him, he said, War of Will horses typically don't get out of the gate very well. They're known to have a little trouble, so they're kind of more of a plotter coming from behind horse. So when the gates opened on this horse, when we watched that race live back in December, and he busted out of the gate, and he was just took the lead and kept with it. It was like, wow, that horse has got a different approach than what you typically would see with the War of Will horse. So interesting to see. I'm going to take a chance with him at 15-1. Certainly, there's no question that the 4-horse Tiz Dashing with Johnny V on it, now that the 8-horse is out, is going to be maybe the deserved favorite. But again, it's going to be another fun race to watch, and I certainly will be rooting for Walking in Memphis for several reasons.
Yeah, that's the sorry, excuse me. The race 10 there, 4:43 Eastern Post, which brings us to another same distance, race 11, 1 1/16. However, it's going to be on the dirt, and it's a grade 3 stakes race, the Holy Bull. Holy Bull, by the way, when Holy Bull won the Florida Derby, I was there. It was Chuck Gambaluka, Mike Gambaluka, me. This was in 1994. Yes, we went down to in 1994 and 1995. We went down to Florida for spring break. And the first time we went to Fort Lauderdale, and I had an ID, and the first bar we went to, the guy ripped the ID in half, and I had to hang out at all the 17 to 24-year-old places all the time. And because everybody was older than me, so they were laughing. But we went to this we saw Holy Bull win. We were right at the finish line, and Chelsea Charles E. Cantor, the lady that used to do the stuff for the horse racing. You know, she was right
Sure.
there. We were talking to her. It was pretty cool.
Wow,
So
I never knew that, Sean. I never knew that. That's
yeah,
awesome.
1990. We were right at the post when Holy Bull came across. I have pictures somewhere. The horse was an
We need
absolute
to get those
monster.
pictures out for it. We need to get those pictures out for this broadcast.
I mean,
I would
when
love
you
to
see
that.
when you watch this stuff on TV, I don't think it does it justice. Is just how big some of these horses are. I mean, that Holy Bull was an absolute monster of a horse, but these horses are gigantic in person.
Well, again, you go to parks and know park's a great place to go watch horses. You're going to see $5,000, $10,000 claimers. I remember when Monmouth held the Breeders' Cup, 2000. I don't remember when it was. Chuck Gambaluka, God rest his soul, was with us. Tommy Dolan got us tickets there through his Case's Pork Roll connections. And unfortunately, if you remember, or whoever was there at Monmouth Park,
2007.
what's that? 2007.
2007.
Okay. 2007, Monmouth Park spent a year preparing for one of the biggest horse racing events that there is each year. We compare it to the Super Bowl of horse racing. The Breeders' Cup. They prepared for a year. All new benches, painted everything beautiful. It rained for 2 freaking days. It was terrible. But the one thing I remember about it was watching. You speak of when you were there and how impressive Holy Bull was. A horse that won in the slop and still is a sire of some horses. Midnight Loop. That horse was so long compared to the other horses and big. It was just so unusual to see that horse close up as you compared, seeing Holy Bull and how big he was. And so they're amazing animals. They're amazing equine athletes, as we call them. Just cool to see. So yeah, when you get a chance to go see that level of racing at the Breeders' Cup or at the Derby, etc., and that's great. And that's our segue into race 11, which is a Derby prep race, the Holy Bull. There are 7 horses entered. There have been no scratches in here. Certainly, there's some horses who've already demonstrated some really solid starts. Guns Loaded is 2 for 3. He won 2 of his 3 races. The big horse everyone's talking about is Ferocious, trained by Gustavo Delgado, being ridden today by Javier Castellano, who's ridden him the last time and the time before. He's participated, Sean, in 3 Grade 1 races.
Wow.
Yeah, already. And this is a Grade 3 prep race for the Holy Bull, obviously. So he certainly is going to be a big favorite. They're putting blinkers on him today to try and focus him a little more in the stretch run. He gets into traffic sometimes. From what I read, what the information was coming out about that horse. The 4-horse Guns Loaded, another horse that has speed. The 3-horse has speed. Ferocious is more of a come from behind horse. And there's another horse in here that I'm taking a shot on, and that's the 6-horse Burning Glory, trained by Bill Mott. I think Bill Mott could have a big day today, being ridden again by Gaffalione. He only broke his maiden last out. So when you compare his races to, what some of the other horses have raced, and several horses have just broken their maiden, he's not joking, racing a Grade 2 race. That's the 5-horse. Most of the horses, 4 of the horses have just broken their maiden. This is their first time with winners. Big challenge for sure. Ferocious has already demonstrated his ability to run with big horses. Of course, didn't win, but put up some good buyer numbers. I like the 6. I think he's got a good post. He's been preparing for this race well. I love Gaffalione on him. I think he's going to get a good run. He'll be able to see how things unfold in front of him. I think Burnham Square, the 7 horse is probably going to go past him to get to the front. So it should be interesting. It's going to be a great race. I mean,
I noticed on your story there's a lookout next to Burning Glory.
I don't often put the lookout next to a horse. Again, in deference to one of my favorite writers, Brian Mulligan for DRF, both wrote with much wit, accuracy in his analysis. And if you put a lookout next to a horse that he was writing about in closer looks, you should pay attention. Again, a race like this, these horses are young. They are developing. I like that this horse has been getting better each race. He's racing a little longer this time, but I think it's in him to handle this distance. Gaffalione had a chance to feel him out. Bill Mott knows, how to take care of horses and get them ready to run. Therefore, Lookout, and we'll see how that works out. Last week, our Lookout got scratched. Nick Style got scratched out, so I have him in my virtual barn to see when he runs again and keep an eye on him. But so, I mean, again, it is a great race to watch. It's going to be exciting. There are a lot of good horses in there. So, and whoever wins will get 40 points towards the Kentucky Derby. So that'll put them right up towards the top and looking like they're ready to go. So that's my pick for that race in terms of a Lookout bet, and I'm looking forward to seeing that race run.
Final race of the pick 5, race 12, 5:45 Eastern, dirt 7 furlongs, the Forward Gal, another grade 3 race here, $165,000 race. Another big race, big money race for these horses here.
Yeah, and this is a race that is equivalent to the previous race as a prep race for the on Kentucky Derby Day for the stakes race for fillies, equivalent to the Kentucky Derby for the fillies. The race on Friday, May 2nd. This will be counting towards that race. There'll be 40 points given to the winner of this race to be entered into that.
Into the Oaks?
Yes, the Oaks. Yes, the Oaks race on Friday, May 2nd. Yep. And again, big race. This race has a big field. There's 11 horses. There were no scratches of last making. Again, we talked about 7 furlongs, kind of a challenging distance. So you want to look and see if any of the horses have run at 7 furlongs. Of course, they're all young horses. The one horse, Unchained the Lane, ran the 7 furlongs and did win. 2 back, not the horse I'm really looking to follow, but I'm going to lean on the 11 horse. Tough post outside and without any scratches. Has speed to get over. Tyler Gaffalione and Brad Cox hook up again together. Last time out he had some trouble. He popped out of the gate. I don't know why the buyer came back as 59. He came in second by a neck. I'm not the complete expert on the figuration of how they come up with the buyer speed figures. I have some idea. I just don't know why it was so low at 59 when he had an 89 prior to that race when Dylan Davis won with him back at Aqueduct. But I think this horse, with the speed he has, he can get away from that wide post, get into the mid pack of the group, I think, or even go towards the front. And I think he's got a good shot to make a run. The horse that's going to be favored is the 9 Rojo Rita, also very, very big speed horse. Won by 16 lengths, Sean, in his last out, which was at Gulfstream Park at 6 furlongs, put up some serious fractions. Edgar Zayas stays on with one of the hottest trainers in Gulfstream Park, Joseph Safi.
I mean, that's a big, at that distance, that's a pretty big win to kind of to run out like that. I mean, that's got to be pretty impressive.
16 lengths, yeah. I mean, 6 furlongs, 16 lengths.
I mean, that's. Yeah. Did anyone else even race in that race?
Well, there were 7 horses. There were 7 horses in the race, and they say that if you look in some of the comments, it doesn't happen to be in this comment, but they say he ran off the screen. Like, usually the screenshot has all the horses, somewhat on the screen. Well, he was off the screen. So he was the only horse that the camera was able to follow. But he's going to be tough to beat. He's got good early speed. There's a couple horses in here that have early speed. If you're looking for a closer, I'm not sure. I really don't know who might come up and pass horses. I mean, the 4, a 30-1 shot, he just broke his maiden. I mean, he passed a lot of horses to win. He could be interesting, but not so sure. So again, it's another very interesting race where use your opinion. Your opinion is what's most important, but I think that's a good race. And there's just one more race, Sean. I think we want to take a quick look at It is another East Coast Derby prep race. That is the Withers at Aqueduct.
Yeah, and I once again, just reading, and you could go to rantsports.com to read these stories usually every Thursday they're up, and every Sunday or Monday we'll have a recap. But looking at this right now, I see another lookout here. So people, if you're listening here, you better need to pay attention.
I love this horse for so many reasons. First of all, his sire is Audible, and his name is Omaha. I think whoever created the name for that horse is no, not taken away from you, Sean. That's a genius of a name. Peyton Manning, we used to call his audibles at the line Omaha, right?
Yep.
And they named the horse Omaha. But besides that, I like it because I think
Peyton Manning owned the horse or something. I thought maybe it was his horse.
Well, maybe, I don't know, but it's owned by On Your Left Racing, so I don't know. Maybe Peyton Manning has a part of own. I'd like to find that out because I just think it's hilarious that the horse is named Omaha out of a Audible sire. But I like the horse because he closed so well last time. He got bumped around at the start. If you watch the rerun, Miguel Mena knows this horse well. Michael Gorham's an underrated trainer, not up in New York, but just if you know the names. There's a couple of big horses in this race, Mo Quality, the 5 horse, the 6 horse, Captain Cook. Again, I think it's a great race. There's going to be some horses that are going to come out of this looking better than they looked on paper. And I think that is why I like the 7 horse. I think he's going to come out of this race looking better than he might look on paper. And I think from that post, he's just going to glide along, keep himself in position to make a really good, strong run. And if you watch the way he surged at the race that he won, came in second last out, but he did get bumped around a little bit. That it's a strong run, and I think if he matures a little bit and continues to mature, he's going to be tough to beat this race. And his morning line is 7-1. So, hey, take a shot, look out.
Definitely. Yeah. So, that's basically the day here. It's already it's amazing. It's already February. I don't know where the time is going.
I got my golf clubs in the back. I'm thinking, ready to start swinging.
I feel like it's going to be in the 50s here next week. I think Monday and Tuesday, and then Thursday 56. But we're basically only 3 months away from the Derby here. So
exactly. Correct. 3 months. Yes, sir.
And this will be, it's 3 months, but it'll feel like about 10 minutes. Next thing you know, it's March, and then
you know how that goes. It'll be here before you know it.
That's right. 35 days to daylight savings and all this, and then everything's getting warmer, and And
I love when that happens, when it starts staying later here on the East Coast. It's just a big jam. Looking forward to it, Sean, for sure. So I will post, Sean, that pick 5 that I'm going to put together on Let Him Run. And again, I want to make sure that I make this clear that I'll post the pick 5, and should that pick 5 hit, 10% of whatever the earnings are will be donated to the Permanently Disabled Jockey Fund, a great organization supporting some of our disabled jockeys. And I think it's something I would like to see that happen, and it'd be great. So check that out when we post that on Let Him Run. And thank you all again for watching and listening, and we'll continue to provide information to you. And Sean, thank you as well.
You're welcome. And we make sure you tune in next week. And, we're going to be having, some, I don't want to say daily shows, but we're going to maybe branch out a little bit. We might be branching out a little bit soon into, some recaps and some other stuff. So if you're a big fan of our content, stay tuned, because we got some other stuff coming up. Just, make sure you hit that bell, subscribe, leave comments. Obviously, we will always answer them and stuff like that. So, but thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. And don't forget, Let Him Run.